Welcome to today's Tefila topic. Today we're going to be discussing by Baruch David, which is on Pesukei de Zimra. Originally, the source is from Nehemiah Parak Tes. Ata hu Hashem Elokim asher bacharta ba'Avram v'otzeis morakastim v'samta shmo Avraham u'matzasas levonim anam panecha. That again Hashem is talking to his trusted servant Avram Avinu. V'charos imo habris, and he's going to establish with him a covenant. He's going to give him the land of the Zayin Amin. To give to his children. You'll affirm your word, your promise, because you Hashem are righteous. So this is, of course, discussing the Bris Ben Besarim, the covenant that Kadosh Baruch Hu established with Avram Avinu. There are 2 points. Number one here is, what are the implications of this bris? What do we mean by a covenant? What do we mean by a bris? And number two, if we see in the language that there seems to be 2 points to the bris. We see the word lases breaks up in 2 different points the bris itself. The bris ben Besarim is found in Bereishis Perek Tesvav Pasuk Yud Ches. Bayomahu asher karas Hashem es Avram bris. That we see that Hashem is establishing a covenant with Avram Avinu. That I'm going to give to your children this land. And we know that throughout Bereishis, Hashem promises Eretz Yisrael to Avram Avinu. What's unique here is that there's a covenant, there's a bris. And what exactly is this bris? So the Ramban notes that the language here, Lizarachana Tati, is in the past tense. And one would expect Lizarachana Tati that it would be in the future, that I am telling you that I will give to you, not something that I have given already in the past. So Rashi there comments, that when Hashem makes a promise, when Hashem says something, it's as if it has already been given, it's already done. It's a done deal. So from the side of Hashem, from the side of Kadosh Baruch Hu, of course, once Hashem makes a promise, it's done. But what about from our side? What about in terms of us? Are we worthy to accept this gift? Are we able to receive Eretz Yisrael? So the Raman says that yes, that Eretz Yisrael is something that's eternal, something that we'll always be able to have that connection. It is an unbreakable connection. The words of the Pachad Yitzchak, he describes a bris as something that we have 2 objects that are connected in an unbreakable way. The Ramban also expresses the same idea in the Pasuk in Bereishis Yud Zayin Pasuk Ches, Achuzas Olam, that Eretz Yisrael is given to us as an eternal Achuzah, that it's something that will never be broken, will never be severed from the Jewish people. We also see the Maharal in Buras Hashem says a similar idea, that even if Am Yisrael were to sin, this is a temporary thing. When the Jewish people sin, they're distancing themselves from Hashem, but it's just a distancing. It's not a severing. It's not a separation. It's just a sort of temporary pushing away, a temporary moving away from Hashem. But this is something that we can always gain back. It's something that we will always be able to receive back in the future. So we've understood now, what does it mean? What does a bris mean? What is a covenant? How do we understand that? That it's this unseparated, this connection that's inseparable. But what about the second point? That we have 2 different pieces of this covenant. Lases Eretz Kanani, on the one hand, that we're giving Eretz Kanani, we're given this land, and Lases Lazaro, given to the children. The Malbim explains this in the Pashup Shat, that Lases Eretz Kanani is the first point where the Hashem is giving us this land, and Lases Lazaro is that it's given to the Jewish people for all generations. The Torah Samagid, which is a student of the Bnei Yeshua, says a different pshat. He says the following, based on the pasuk in Koheles, Perek Beis pasuk Yud Gimel, Ki Yisron ha'or min ha'choshech, that there's an advantage of the light over the darkness. That when we have light, there's a way that the light is expressed, and that's through the darkness. When we have Tov in the world, that's only because of the contrast from the darkness. That's how we're able to see the light. And here he's saying that the tzaddikim, the light, the tzaddikim are able to shine forth because of this darkness. And he explains the psukim as follows: Laseis Eretz Kanani. The Kanani refers to the aspect of the physical world that's lower, that's negative. And there can be Tov and Ra in Eretz Yisrael. We can have the negative aspects in Eretz Yisrael, but we have to find ways to overcome that. And in a sense, when we look at the first time when Am Yisrael comes into Eretz Yisrael, how does it happen? What happens is that there's a process that we are coming out of Mitzrayim, we become Ovdei Hashem, we receive the Torah, and with the guidance of Yoshua and the Zikanim, the Manhigim of the generation, we're able to accept upon ourselves, the Jewish people are able to accept the Tov and reject the Ra. And that's what it means, Laseis Lizaro, that we're able to take that on to the Jewish people. So what we've seen here is that the 2 points, again, that we're able to we're able to choose the Tov. We're able to choose the Tov, and on the other point that there's an inseparable connection of Am Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael. So our Sikum, just to quickly go over the word bris. We saw in the Pachad Yitzchak, we saw in the Ramban that it's an inseparable connection. This tie that we have with Eretz Yisrael is unbreakable. And that's what it means by the bris. And number two, we've learned that the role, the mission of the Jewish people is throughout the generations through the guidance of the tzaddikim, through the guidance of the menhigim, to be able to come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to serve Him with Torah and mitzvos, to reject the evil, to reject the Ra, and to be able to shine forth with the Tov, with the Or, and be able to come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we should continue to do that.